That's right, Hugo. Well, I can tell you that the feeling and the mood right now is that of jubilation across all, people. That would, of course, include all stakeholders involved. I mean, from the officials themselves right through to the communities and even some of the beneficiaries. We were just, in fact, before you came to us, we're witnessing one of the local vendors who was, reflecting on the fact that they were here, selling some of their food items right besides the road. But because of this project that has just been unveiled, they will now also be having a special shelter just alongside that taxi rank that is expected, or rather costed, about 9 million rands. Joining us right now to reflect then from the perspective of the SANRAL is the provincial head, Mr. Mbulelo Peterson. Mr. Peterson, thank you very much for your time. I mean, it is a gigantic project in its entirety. It took about 33 months, I understand, and the budget allocation as well is that is one that is gigantic. Perhaps let's talk about the key highlights of this project from its inception right up until its completion, and maybe challenges if there were any.
Yeah, the key highlight is that this is an integrated transport system. Because of safety issues, where we had hawkers and taxis in the intersection on the N2, which is a major corridor nationally, and you found that we had to reduce speed. That is on the N2 from 120 to less than 80 kilometers, sometimes during peak hours to less than 60 kilometers an hour. So this was a major bottleneck, such that now accidents were also happening there, fatal accidents regularly, I would say. So now the completion of this interchange that tells us that as SANRAL, we always have to work with other stakeholders, the taxi guys, the hawkers and the general public, such that we provide a safe transport system. And that, I think, is the major achievement. That of course, there are other issues, community beneficiation, because here we've got a number of roads that we did within the community, all done by local SMMEs. So you'll see there that now, if you look at it as a transport system, it's not only the interchange here, we've connected schools, the hotel and other facilities to the N2 to a very safe, in a safe manner.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the challenges, one person may argue that they were because, or rather as a result of the reluctance of some community members who were saying, I mean, just the local vendor herself, who was saying that they're going to be disturbing them whilst they're still trying to sell some of their food items. But I assume and presume that those were ironed out.
No, all because she was talking about during construction, they were not clear in terms of what SANRAL has in store for them, that is after the completion of the facility. But now, as you can see, all of them are just jumping for joy. That is to see that now they'll have their own kiosk, electrified kitchen with running water, ablution facilities, and all around that is a taxi, that is facilities. So it couldn't have come better, because as they explained themselves that they were doing their business that is in the rain, in the sun, and during windy conditions, and now they are in a very safe place.
Mm-hmm. Definitely light at the end of the tunnel. Mr. Peterson, perhaps let's talk then, about some of these projects. And what they mean to SANRAL in particular. I mean, a project of this magnitude surely should contribute to the overall strategic planning and direction of the entity of SANRAL.
SANRAL, of course, we want the Eastern Cape in particular to resemble or look like any other province, because as you know that we've got a divide, a Western divide and an Eastern divide. In the eastern part, it is the most populous, that is area of the Eastern Cape. And incidentally, that's where black people live. And of course, there was that sense that no, maybe government is not doing enough in the former homelands, etc. But as I'm standing here, I can say to you that in the Eastern Cape, over 70% of the budget is actually projects in the eastern part of the province. Major project and mega project. Now, without mentioning the N2 Wild Coast, we've got big projects, 1.2 billion rand, Matatiel to the KZN border, 1.2 billion. So even as the minister said earlier, on the R63, between Kumcha and Qongqi, got over 2 billion rand worth of work going on there. And linked to that, again, there are community development projects as well as safety facilities. Say, for instance, that place where it used to be the border post of the Ciskei, we'll be having hawker facilities there, that is ablution facilities. Pilton will be having there a taxi facility, almost like the one that we are having. So as you can see that at Sanral, we want to work with our communities. Our transformation spells it all out that no, we are not going to do anything without our communities and people benefiting out of our operations.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that beneficial aspect of it as well, Mr. Peterson, perhaps some of those community members and other stakeholders who want to be involved don't know the know-how of how they can be part of the projects that you are still yet to unveil.
Of course, we've got a firm sort of a structure in place whereby we reach out to communities through, that is the traditional leadership and the municipalities, because remember, we're operating in municipalities. Of course, they are in turn in districts. But our plan, we share our plan with the provincial government, all the mayors and municipal managers, up to the chiefs in the various areas, to make sure that people can at least now not only anticipate but predict in terms of how should I prepare myself to access Sanral's opportunities. And that year, I think we've done that very well. You've heard that some folks on our projects buy that is machines and vehicles, etc. And that is all because we say that we want an inclusive economy, and our people must benefit out of that.
The minister was also making a remark just on the last point, was making remarks about the destruction of the roads, contributing to a setback for the department in its entirety. I don't know if, as Sanral, perhaps you have a word on that.
Yes, that is a thing that breaks everyone's heart, especially to us as Sanral, simply because more often than not, the issues got nothing to do with the road or Sanral. Whether I say, no, I don't want this councillor and all that, so we don't have water and all those sort of things. But that is just making us poorer. That is having to go and do repair work where it was actually, the road was in a very good condition, and now the burning creates potholes and etc. So now money that we were supposed to spend elsewhere, we've got to spend it on redoing work that was already there. So it's against then the very same community who could have done a better sort of made better use of those funds, even in that same community. But because we got to attend to the issues of the roads, sometimes we can't.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Peterson. Well, of course, that is the provincial head then of Sanral here in the province of the Eastern Cape, really reflecting on this magnitude and momentous occasion that is unfolding here in the Eastern Cape. As you can see, this is the N2 that has just been unveiled in the province of the Eastern Cape in the town of Butterworth. We understand that a lot of effort was put then into the construction of this. But meanwhile, over 270 local jobs were created, permanent and full-time, to benefit the communities here, Hugo.